Most people forget what they read. They pick a book, they read, they highlight the information, but they forget what they read in a week or so. In this video, we're going to learn how to retain the information that you read. So let's get straight to it.
The Stoics broke philosophy into three parts: physics, how the world works; logic, how to think; and ethics, how to live. Now, this hit me hard because it made me realize that if I want to cultivate a habit of reading for a long period of time, or if I simply want to develop discipline, then I cannot go around chasing results. I have to understand reality, I have to think clearly, and I have to act with virtue every single day. Because, as James Clear said in his evergreen book, Atomic Habits, the best results come late. Compounding hides its progress at the start. I think that's something to repeat twice about. Compounding hides its progress in the beginning. Now, let's talk about why most people quit too early and how to actually read and retain information. So, people treat reading like it's some sort of entertainment. They read like consumers and not creators. They read more but apply nothing. They chase virality but forget the inputs. And they want fast ROI. And that's precisely the problem. That's not how growth works. Here's how I see it: going viral is something that you can't control. It's like the weather. But what you can control is your inputs. And the results, like James Clear said, they are always delayed. But your inputs, they are immediate. And that's why you should show up, even when you think you are not getting any results. I like to go to this paragraph from Atomic Habits that tells us clearly how the compounding effect works. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see your breath. It is currently 25 degrees. Ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27, 28. The ice cube is still sitting on the table in front of you. 29 degrees, 30, 31. Still, nothing has happened. Then 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. A 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the temperature increases before it, has unlocked a huge change. And this proves it. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions. Many, and I repeat, many, maybe even months of previous action, not just weeks. So, duty is greater than mood, identity is greater than motivation. Now, they say that you get one life, but through reading books, you can live 1,000 lives. And that's pretty much the reason I read books. Not for entertainment, I do get entertained, but to learn from different people who have walked different paths in their lives. I read not just for knowledge, of course, I gain some knowledge, but I also read to apply that knowledge in my life. So I've created a system for myself which seems to be working for me at this point in my life, and this is what it looks like. I wake up around 4 and head straight to my laptop to start writing. It's either for a newsletter or this particular YouTube script. Um, and then after 6 a.m., I have a break for like an hour. I eat something for my gym, and then I get some sunlight, and of course, I eat my breakfast. Post this, I start building once again between 9 to 11 a.m. The reason I wake up at 4 a.m. is because I live with my family and I kind of get distracted post, let's say, 8 a.m. So I don't really get a lot of work done if I wake late. So I wake up that early. Now, this also means that by 11 a.m., I've pretty much done the heavy lifting, right? My afternoons I dedicate for reading post 11 a.m., 2 to 3 hours of focused reading. Um, this is because your brain is not at your creative peak post lunch, but it can absorb. I'm not saying this is science. And my evenings, I go for a walk, and during this walk, I have my phone out. I'm engaging and networking on X. This is pretty much my system, and I recommend everyone watching to have a system created for themselves. It may take some time for it to stick to your, let's say, likings or to exactly who you are, but create it, iterate it along the way. It may take weeks, but create it and stick to it. That is what I would recommend. The results in the beginning may look flat a bit, but that's how compounding works, right? Breakthrough moments come from silent reps, as James Clear would say. Okay, so at this point, I am actually cycling through three books: Meditations, Atomic Habits, and Becoming Supernatural. Um, I do have these books installed in my system, but these are the books I'm going through at this point in time. And here's the thing, right? I don't just binge read all these three books in one single day, I alternate them. So on day one, I read Meditations. On day two, I read Atomic Habits. And on day three, I read Becoming Supernatural. Um, and I don't just read, I write alongside. And that's the secret. You read, you write, and then you teach, right? This is the loop that builds retention to what you read. This is what builds mastery. Most people forget 90% of what they read. Why? Because they don't apply. And how am I applying this? How am I teaching this? Through this YouTube video, through writing newsletters. So you read, you write, and then you teach. That is the secret formula, my friends. So, just to repeat myself, most people just collect information. They highlight on their books, they even save quotes on their Word document or Notion document. They even nod along while reading, but absolutely nothing changes. I say this with so much confidence because I used to be one of them. But what changed for me is I actually started applying and writing, right? So you gotta practice what you're reading, my friends. I mean, reading, if you treat it like entertainment, it is going to be like entertainment. But you have to apply what you read, and only then it becomes part of your identity. Your job is to read, is to write them along, and of course is to teach. You can teach to anybody in this planet, right? Your family, maybe your nephew or a niece, anybody. But you, what I would suggest is simply come online and post online, either on X, or write a newsletter, or create a YouTube video like this, right? So that being said, um, your job is to only show up, and the results will follow anyway. So thanks for watching, my friends. Thanks for listening along. Just wanted to let you know before we can end this is a slice from my product that is upcoming in October 2025. It's going to be called the Knowledge Athlete, and it's going to be priced at $29. It is a short, practical guide to turn books into behavior, behavior into audience, and audience into products. So basically, turning your knowledge into money, right? Turning your reading into money. That's pretty much what I'm doing. So that's going to be up next month. But until then, you can download my free Intellectual Athlete Playbook. It's on my website. I will place it in the description below. You can also join my newsletter. I send two newsletters every week with practical tips that you can take that very particular day and implement in your life. Anyway, thanks for listening. Let's go ahead and build systems that make self mastery automatic. Have a good day.